institutions. He said Nigeria lost a shining star. And a separate memorial service was held in Isiokpo, Rivers State on Sunday. The Deputy Governor of Rivers State, Ngozi Odu, represented Governor Fubara.
But for this moment, he has asked me to send his warmest greetings to the family of Dr. Shingo and Auntie Stella Wigwe, and indeed the entire Wigwe family. And to the church, wants to console you and condole with you and let you know that Herbert, Chizoba, and Tizi, they live on in our hearts. All of us, collectively and individually, will help to make their dreams, the dreams they had, a reality.
Dr. Joyce Wigwe spoke on behalf of the family.
Most of you know that it's been a challenging year for us since Herbert. I was here a year ago speaking, and it's so reassuring to see that you are still here with us. Thank you for your support. Thank you because the glory of the Lord is upon you. And I want to say thank you so much for all you have done to strengthen my father and my mother. But who knows that the Lord works in wonderful ways, his wonders to perform. That Herbert, Chizzy, and Dory this day will rest in your bosom.
But dignitaries present include the former Minister of Transportation, Chibike Amechi, former Governor of Cross River State, Donald Duke, and businessman Sam Iwajoku. The service included a candlelight procession to the graveside within Wigwe University, also located in Isiokpo. Family members, including parents of the late Herbert Wigwe, were present to honor their loved ones. And so this is good. 1 year later, the legacy of Herbert Wigwe lives on. Now, a few things that you may have noticed, you definitely have, is that Herbert Wigwe was not a state actor, was not a politician, a government or public official. He wasn't a minister, an appointee of government, a local government chairman, a senator. He held no official national position. His recognition that is reflective of his legacy came from merit, what he built. And by design, a legacy is something that is supposed to outlive you. So this is a representation, literally, of a legacy. Because the man left 1 year ago. And we're still talking about him 1 year later. Government officials at the state and national level still honor the memory of the man. And his loss was described as a national loss, even though he was a player in the private sector. The institutions he built are a representation of the Nigeria we want. A top-rate financial institution and a world-class tertiary institution built by somebody in the private sector. So naturally, the politicians, the people in power would align with excellence. Another thing you may have noticed is that time does fly. It's hard to imagine that Wigwe has been dead for 1 year already. Because when he passed on, it made headlines nationally and internationally. The world followed that story. There's a very famous quote. It said, the one thing about life is that it moves on. So let this be a lesson to the living that all you have to do is start. Wigwe passed on what seemed like last week. Now it's already 1 year. It's already been 1 year. And before you know, it's another year. And the world moves on. But guess what keeps you in the memory of people? Your legacy. What you were able to build while you were still here. Now, the most important perspective is that his vision is preserved. That legacy is protected. That the things that he has built, we ensure that it does not die with him. I'm already seeing, I'm hoping it's a rumor. There are, stories from different corners, say family is already doing this. We are hearing this one is invading here, that one. It is very important that the legacy of Wigwe is preserved. Not just for who he was, but what it represents. There is a world-class university that is in this very state. And if it works as it should, it will serve the interest of the people and put us in the news for the right reasons. So this is the time to ensure everyone who can, we call them stakeholders, that it does not die or fall below the standard that the man intended. The right intervention required to protect the Wigwe legacy is important at this time. So once again, rest in peace to Herbert Wigwe. Coming up next, Serap sues Tinubu over transparency. We'll have that conversation shortly. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp is 080-903-06. 416. We're live on Facebook and Twitter at Nigeria InfoPH. You can watch, listen, and leave your comments on those platforms. It's been 1 year since Herbert Wigwe passed on, and the nation is mourning afresh. Call me and tell me. Well, I have a message here. Justice Ori says, is 1 year not enough for the governor and president to immortalize the late Herbert Wigwe? It's good we're remembering him, but let's go far on it, Justice. Well, Justice, depends on how you want to see it. The Wigwe University is, if you may, maybe the greatest form of immortalization. If it works according to plan, the man's name would always be there. He would always be remembered. And those who make it out of that school will be a representation of the excellence. Justice calls from Omudia. Good afternoon, Justice.
My friend, Sam, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Obudoga is very calm this afternoon.
Okay, that's nice to know.
Sam, I like hearing your voice. Your voice is very sweet, like a woman's voice.
Ha! I don't know what to do with that information, but I'm guessing thank you would be the appropriate response.
Okay, let me again condole with the family of late Herbert Wigwe for the death of their son, our brother, our wife, and the son that died during that incident. Just like you said, it was a very big shock to the whole world. The world followed the news. But my concern is that when that day Wigwe died, during that period the thing happened, and the way the world reported it, I was thinking that by now the federal government and Rivers State should have found a very befitting way to immortalize Herbert Wigwe. It is good that we are still, as in the government is condoling with the family. But what have we done so far to sustain Wigwe's legacy? If you go to any federal environment, state environment, what have they done for that name to be recorded in your mind? That when you see this thing, you say this is what Herbert Wigwe lives for. So I want to use the opportunity to ask that the state government, the federal government should find something and do to immortalize Wigwe. In as far as Nigeria is concerned, we can never forget that name. Federal government and Rivers State government should be more intentional about immortalizing Wigwe. Sam, you have any question for me?
No, I don't. I wanted to say something, but I already said it with the message you sent. I think that his university is the greatest form of immortalization. That's my position. Chima from Rumokuta. Hello, Chima.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Sam.
Good afternoon.
Brother, you see how time flies. You know, when I heard this in the morning, my brother, I almost cried. Let me say, sympathize and at the same time condole with the family of the Wigwe, and also me too. I have to sympathize with my own self because the man is a great loss to all of us. Listen. And the federal government has really shown concern to the thing concerning Rivers State lately. That's a very wonderful one because they have done before. After 1 year, they still sent their tribute. Not an easy one. And our governor for Rivers State, yes, he actually sent a representative. But for a man like Herbert Wigwe, you not think that the governor would have squeezed time at least to be there. Dignitaries were there, former governors, business tycoon, people sent messages. Our governor would have tried his best, no matter what. Even when they're even doing their convocation at Rivers State University, the medical student. First of its kind. The governor wasn't even see there. Even as the one is doing the meeting, the president gave me a marching order that he should go and discuss with the Ogun people. He was not even see there. Except for us to be hearing that he has gone to Abuja to withdraw his matter. I don't know why the governor has left the thing that he's supposed to be doing and be beating himself with political matter. I know why we elected him. But no while my heart goes to the people, and I pray that we look away and immortalize the man. My name is Chima Dike Mokuta.
All right, Chima. If you do not criticize the governor, then the sun has not risen. It's beautiful how you have creative ways to do it every day. Patrick calls from HA. Good afternoon, Patrick.
Yes, Sam Oracle.
Please turn off your radio.
Okay, can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, I can. Please go ahead.
It's okay. I want to comment on a legend that have passed away, late Herbert Wigwe. It's a big loss to Nigeria and the River State. I've been to Ishopo, where he came from, where he did a very mighty university that he wanted to help Nigeria from that place.
Patrick, please turn off your radio.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I want to urge Nigeria, the parent of this Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu, please, he should not back that Harvard University at Ishopo. That university has started commenced by now. People are in that university studying. And Harvard is a man who has a good plan for Rivers people and the Nigeria. I want Nigeria to do something in remembrance of Harvard Wigwe, because it's a big loss to Nigeria and Rivers State. That one is one. Another thing I want to comment on is the Supreme Court judgment today. To follow everything up today.
We're not there yet. We're discussing. Yes, I can hear you, but we're not having that conversation right now. Thank you very much, Patrick. Temple calls from HA. Hello, Temple. Okay, I seem to be on hold. Hopefully, he lets me go at some point. Lawson from Yenagua. Hello, Lawson.
Hello, Sam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yesterday I was watching it on telly about Wigwe. I mean, how time flies. Even me, myself and my wife, we didn't believe that it was 1 year already. Really. So unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. And just like every other death, I sympathize with the family and the state and the country. You see, but I don't know. I see different things, really. Like what I noticed is he is a friend to most of the politicians. He was in the private sector, but in the way his death, the way they came during his death, it was as if he was a politician. He was a friend to most of them, including former central bank governors and all that. You know, so I was wondering, I was thinking, what was the link between him and all these politicians and the way they were talking about him? You know, I keep wondering, because I look at other bank MDs and they are not that close. Oh, but he was. And then secondly, I also look at what the banking sector has done to this country. I know what we have gone through during the Buhari time, even till now, what they are doing when it comes to availability of currency. So I'm also not too friendly with banks, and especially the MDs, the bank MDs, because I feel some of these problems, there was a time where we were made to even buy our own money in this country. And we were also told that these bank MDs were responsible for hoarding all of these things, and then they're making us go through so much problem. So when I look at all of this, I try to, it's difficult, very, Sam, for me to exclude him from all of those problems we went through generally. So I don't know much about him. I don't even bank with Access Bank and all that. In fact, until his death, I really didn't know him. I tell you the truth. Even when I was in the Herbert Wigwe University on national television, I thought he was, I didn't even know he was River State. I thought when they were advertising it, when he was coming, I thought he was somewhere in the southeast. But at the end of the day, what has happened has happened. But there are some questions that I have in my mind. I wish somebody can answer for me. One, why was he so close to so many prominent Nigerians, especially politicians? And two, all those things we suffered in this country from the hands of bank MDs, was he part of it?
Okay.
So those are the questions that I cannot answer for now. I don't know if you can help me answer them.
Okay. I cannot answer the questions, but I can tell you one thing. Stating that he was closer to politicians and other bank MDs is a position you cannot hold. You see, in his case, he died. And so all these people came to pay their respect. We hope it doesn't happen, but if any other bank MD dies, it's possible you will see this kind of respect as well. Secondly, you don't rise to the level that he did, achieving what he did in a country like this without fraternizing with power. It's literally impossible. One of the many things that you would learn about leadership, especially if you make it to the top, is that you have to have a very good relationship with authority. And I'm sure he had his way of, being as close as he needed to be. We've seen videos. There's a popular one. I don't want to go into detail so that it doesn't seem like, after the president won the election, right? I don't know if he was hosted or he was visited with one of the bank MDs who is still alive today. So speaking about how close he was to power, you can't rate it and say he was closer than whoever. They all need to be close to power. It's very important for their sustenance. As to whether he contributed to the problems, I can't tell. I cannot tell. Bright calls from Rumodumaya. Good afternoon, Bright.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
When we talk about Herbert Wigwe, it's a great loss to me as a person. And during the time of COVID-19, that man single-handedly donated 1 billion naira to support the federal government so that there will be palliative for citizens to be happy. He has done a lot. And somebody was asking, why is he close to the politicians? He's a bank MD. All the governors send money to banks. Maybe their state salary is being received, maybe from federal bank to other commercial banks. So he must be closer to them because he controls most of the state finance. When Obi was contesting as a president, he also mentioned that he worked with Herbert Wigwe when he was governor of Anambra State. So I should forget talking about whether he's not made his governor in terms of cash and so on. Herbert Wigwe has made a very strong name for himself for the River State and Nigeria. And that name will continue for years, a number of years to come. And for the motorization that people are talking of, the state government and the federal government, they should do resources to make sure that that university is 100% completed. So everything that has to be there needs to be there. They should make provision for that. That name alone is enough for the name Wigwe University. That they should make sure that every facility is in place. Thank you. Worship Bright.
All right, thank you very much, Bright. I'll be speaking with Robin shortly. Good afternoon, Sam. Herbert Wigwe lived a life that is worth emulating, especially as he achieved and made impact even when he was not in the corridor of power. Hence, we need to learn from his actions of philanthropy and love to his people. Woyike Odinaka says, thank God at Webu. Sam, I can remember the last Serap won any case. Every weekend, Serap sues federal government for this and that. Yes, indeed. Okwando Obina says, I think that people like me, Herbert Wigwe, need to be immortalized by the people and the government of Nigeria despite allegations of indirectly involving in politics. Mr. Herbert made a mark without coming in contact with the people's treasury, and he was outstanding in his endeavors. Robin from HA, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, the Oracle himself.
Good afternoon, Robin. Please go ahead.
You see, Herbert Wigwe, to me, is already an authority in the history of Nigeria, in the history of Africa, and the world at large. Before I continue, I pray God to console the immediate family. Having said so, Oracle, what is the lesson drawn or learned from the incident that took the life of Wigwe, wife and son? Those of us that were alive today, do we learn anything from it? A silent achiever. I never knew at my age, climbing the 6th floor, that such a man comes from River State. And he put son. Yet we see people junketing all around, disturbing the peace of the state, peace of the country. Yet we had this man who was a billionaire, but very silent and quiet. Are we learning? Yes, it's painful for us to have lost him. But those of us who claim we are Christians, how many years do we think we are to spend on this earth? The man spent the period he spent. Today, we are discussing him. And people are talking about immortalization. What can be more than this? 1 year and battery. President sent messages. The governor of River State was there and praised him because he sent the deputy governor. During the burial, he was there. And again, I want to remind him because I can remember the word he used, that River State government is not going to turn their back on the family of Wigwe. And I know that is going to be. But more to it before I drop. Can we learn to live a life knowing that life is vanity? If a man who is so rich as he is, before he died, has passed on, talk less about you and me. I will not go to die one day.
Okay.
Vanity upon vanity.
Thank you very much. Israel from Ahoda. All right, Temple from HA.
The very distinguished or opportunity.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. I salute you, specialist, sir.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
The very distinguished sir. It's indeed as that when we had the sudden demise, the surprising plane crash that took the life of Herbert Wigwe, son and wife, it was indeed a very tragic one. But what can we say? What can we do? I pray Jehovah God continue to console the families and to the family themselves to ensure they manage that which he has left behind, because that is the only thing we use to remember him. I think the government can also do the needful. The name already, the university, as you said, is already enough, but they can do more. If we're building some kind of outer campuses, rename, putting the name there too, so that it will ring down to our rural communities. For me, it will be a good one. But very distinguished Sam Oracle.
Yes.
You are talking that Serap will sue Mr. President for, is it lack of transparency or transparency? Which one? The last time I checked, the ones they sued our former president, President Tinubu, I don't know if they are still hanging or suffering from what I call meningitis in court, or those files are still there or they are missing. This Serap, help me tell them now, the ones where they don't get already, make they see to it, so that the judge they no go they confused. I beg, just beg them, say I need beg them like that. So make them deal with the ones where they don't already sue. Let them say distinguish them, locate they beg them, so that me, if I don't go they confused, if I hear this their matter, I will know the end. And the ones where they don't get victory, the plenty.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Awanete says, good day. The death of Herbert Wigwe. Wigwe was a silent achiever, philanthropist. It's quite unfortunate. Condolences to the family. Now let's head to the next headline. Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, Serap, filed a lawsuit against President Bola Tinubu over his failure to direct the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, to name and ensure the prosecution of contractors who collected over 167 billion naira from 31 ministries, departments, and agencies, but failed to execute any projects. In a suit filed at the Federal High Court, Lagos, Serap is asking the court to compel President Tinubu to also direct the Minister of Justice and Attorney General Lateef Fagbemi to bring to justice any companies and contractors who collected over 167 billion naira of public funds without executing any projects. Serap is asking the court to compel President Tinubu to direct the Minister of Finance to publish the specific names of the companies and contractors involved, as documented in the 2021 audited report by the Auditor General of the Federation. Every time you see Serap in the news suing for something, the reaction of Temple, just before I read this report, is what comes to the minds of those who have followed Serap and understand how things work. First of all, sitting presidents have immunity. So the president is not going to have his day in court as a president. And it's not just in Nigeria. In most countries, the president is not allowed to stand trial. Why? Because the business of running Nigeria is a heavy one. So if the president keeps going to court every day, he may not have the time. That's what the immunity is for. They sued the former president and they've been suing. And I know that I've spoken to reps of Serap many times. We've had conversations around these suits. And while they understand the business and functionality of an immunity, the idea is for the purpose of pressure. With this lawsuit and this report, there is a consciousness that 167 billion naira is unaccounted for. That companies collected these monies from over 31 ministries in the name of executing contracts and did not deliver. So this brings to our consciousness the kind of specific questions to ask authority. And you see, while it might seem futile, because it does seem that way, the president will not go to court, or all the ones you've sued, did you win? In this corruption fight, there is need for a reference. If tomorrow the file of President A is brought out, and we need to analyze that government, we need to give a scorecard or even pursue some of these cases, these references will come up. That in 2019, there were 7 lawsuits from Serap against the presidency and the president himself. It was for this and that and that. So while it might seem like it's not bringing results at this time, believe me, this is for the purpose of reference. It's for the purpose of pressure. It is for bringing the attention of you and I to these issues. It's a pressure group so that you can ask the right questions, you can make the right demands. But most importantly, you can have an understanding of how things work, how things are supposed to work, and whether or not it's working. So I guess I'll have to say, well done, Serap. Is this the last lawsuit you hear from them? No, it's not. There will be many more. And I think they're doing a great job. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp is 080-903-06416. If you need to call, you have to do that now. We have 5 minutes left on the clock. Top of the day, Mr. Sam. Thanks for bringing this up. It's another way of immortalizing him. Late Mr. Wigwe lived like the biblical sons of Issachar, who understood the times and seasons and knew what to do. Wigwe lived way ahead of his time and above his age too. I think the best way the government can immortalize him is to ensure that they improve on the legacies he left behind and let those of them who are in position of power today emulate him by using their good office to turn around things in their immediate communities. Sleep on Wigwe, wife and son. Bishop Ogori from Oyibo says, Okwando from Irebe. Good afternoon, Okwando.
Good afternoon to you, Chinedu, the Oracle.
Good afternoon.
You see, I don't want to go and start tracing the history of the many lawsuits of Serap. But I think it is a shame and an embarrassment to Nigerians that it will have to take Serap to go to court or to remind the president or remind the laws that be, the powers that be, that people who collected money for execution of contracts and didn't do it will have to be brought to the book.
Mm.
What then is the president doing in office? What then is the other law enforcement agents, what is the EFCC doing? I think that these people are disgracing us. For a whooping hundreds of billions of naira, taxpayers' money, we are giving to people to execute contracts, and they didn't do it, and everybody is keeping quiet. It has to take Serap, who is in the habit of going to court every day without any result, to do this. I say that I am highly disappointed, and every other Nigerian should be disappointed in this kind of act. That is why the country is the way it is today. Nothing is moving. You give people money to do contract, they will swallow the money and nothing will happen. Chinedu, I am highly disappointed in all this kind of news that we are hearing. Thank you and God bless you.
All right, thank you very much, Okwando. Well, being disappointed is one of the many ways to feel. And what do we do with all of that? Whatever emotion, whether it's anger, it's disgust, it's joy, sadness, if you hear the things coming out of our country, Nigeria, what do you do with it? How do you make demands? Do you speak truth to power? It's an allegation, of course. Serap says 167 million is missing. As a Nigerian, what do you do with that information? Important questions begging very important answers. 4 o'clock is next door. The business news comes up in that hour. And after that, we'll be talking about the return of toll gates. Please stay with us.